how's it going? Today I'm gonna share with you how much I made in my first 6 months of being monetized with YouTube. And it's actually so cool because I have not looked back on these numbers for a little while and I'm like amazed at how much I actually made within my first 6 months. I'm gonna share my screen with you so you can see all the analytics. It's actually really exciting because I did not realize that I had earned this much within just the first 6 months. This is actually really cool. Here's my screen. This is what I'm looking at. I made $1,109.25 within the first 6 months of getting monetized with YouTube. And of course, this is just from Google Ads shown on my videos. Personally, I love diving into the analytics of things. I think it's really cool to see how I got here and exactly what these days looked like, how much I made, and what the consistency of the content looked like during this time, and how exactly I got here with how many views I had. So I'm gonna dive into all of this and tell you exactly how many subscribers I had during this time and all the things that are important to know, because just looking back, it's very telling to see like how your channel is growing and what the trajectory of it looks like based on this time frame. But also there's so much more that goes into it, and this definitely I think is just nice to see because so many people who are wanting to start YouTube or just getting started, or even if you're already monetized but you just want to know, what to expect, I think it's really nice to see this transparency because a lot of people don't know how much people make on YouTube. And recently I shared how much I made in my very first paycheck from YouTube and in my first month. So now I'm gonna share exactly how much I made in my first 6 months and how I got there. The very first time that I was actually earning was on March 22nd. And that was a Monday, and I actually did reach all the requirements the Friday before, so it took me 3 days, just over a weekend, to actually start getting paid for my views, which is really fast because sometimes I've heard people submit their request and then they have to wait a couple of weeks to hear back, which is really a bummer because usually when you're taking off, you can see I had pretty good momentum at the beginning because if you look at my views, I had a lot of really good views right on those very first days because this doesn't even show my best day. Like, in fact, before I got monetized, I only have it selected for the 6 months after getting monetized. I'll go back and I'll show you some of what the views looked like before that because my channel took off. You can see my highest day right here is 8,487 views in one day. And then what's this one? This one looks high too. Yeah, 8,000 views in one day. So I had a couple of really high peaks, but these are not my highest peaks because my highest peaks were actually before I got monetized. My highest peaks were what allowed me to get monetized. So if I go back, let's just look at the entirety of my channel. I started posting videos on June 19th, 2020. I got monetized after about 9 months. So this is gonna show those first 9 months plus the first 6 months of being monetized just as a whole so you can see what happened. So as you can see, I was pretty consistent, and these numbers, even though they're low, I was still growing over a course of time. So as you can see, it went from the double digits to the triple digits and into the 1 or 2 hundreds per day. That's not bad. And then I stayed consistent all the way through. So you can see from, at least it shows from October all the way through February. That's October, November, December, January, February. That's 5 months of consistency with only seeing a few hundred views per day. And then finally that consistency paid off and it went suddenly up to 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, all the way up to 4,500 in one day. Literally, that was March 9th, and it took off. Let's see, it looks like I had been back at kind of a normal number. Let's see, where was my normal, like 200 views? Yeah, let's say, okay, so 300 views as of like February 25th. So over the course of February 25th to March 6th, or March 9th, that's like 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, it took off. And all of a sudden it went way up here to a point where I actually had over 10,000 views in one day, like multiple days. I was close to 9,000. What is this? Another 8,000. Yeah. So I had all of this big, I don't know if you can see it. I don't want to hover over it so that you miss the whole thing, but this whole area right here, that is where I had my biggest jump. And yet I didn't actually reach the requirements of getting monetized until, where is this? Friday, the 19th of March. That is when I hit the 4,000 watch hours. I actually hit 1,000 subscribers, which is the requirement to get monetized, 1 week before that. So it happened very much in sync, which was really cool. And I'll dive a little bit more into how I gained the subscribers as well. But as you can see, it was on a day where I had 8,825 views after all of those big days where I got monetized. And therefore, even though I earned the monetization requirements on that day, I was not getting paid yet, because you have to then submit your request to actually be monetized. So I was watching, and as soon as I saw that I hit the requirements, I was like, oh my gosh, I hit the requirements. You want to do as fast as possible. So once I knew that I had hit the requirements, I immediately reached out to YouTube. I sent in my request, but I also went into the feedback option and literally just sent in a message saying, hey, I just reached the requirements to be monetized, and I'm so excited to continue my earning journey or continue growing my channel with YouTube. I hope I get monetized soon, or something like that, that just kind of like let them know like, hi, I'm waiting, but like in a nice way. And literally that I sent that in, I think on like that Saturday to kind of speed up the process. And then by Monday morning, I saw the notification that I had gotten monetized, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was approved for the partner program, which was so cool. So that means that I was not earning on any of these big views, which is unfortunate. But by Sunday, let's see, no, not Sunday, here it is, on the 22nd of March, I had a 4,479 view day. And that was kind of luckily the beginning of this next big push, where I had another video really take off. So a couple videos in a row. And this is why it's so important to have a lot of videos that really, build off of each other, so that when one of them takes off, the other ones will go with it. People are going to be interested in the same content that you have to offer on your channel. So, if I had one video go viral, which in this case was my twins' first flight, at this point, it was just starting to take off. And I'll dive in a little bit more to this video specifically too, so you can kind of see the history on that and how it got there. But that video was just starting to take off. And then shortly after that video took off, the next one that actually took off is not the second one here, but is this third video that says, pack with me, traveling with twins internationally for a whole month. This was my next video that took off, and just all of a sudden, like the two were going together like really fast, and it was amazing. And so, as I said, you can kind of see this is how that went. So, it can happen really fast. It can happen like after a lot of consistency, it can happen overnight, where all of a sudden this just took off, and it never went back to being low again. Like, I did definitely go back to the point where I had lower views, but it kind of stuck around, like, even my very lowest day was like 500 views. But like on average, it looks like I was around 1,000 views per day, even after my big jumps. But of course I had multiple jumps. This is again, still just that 6-month period. I was able to have another jump at 4,000, another jump at 8,000 per day, followed by several more. And then another jump where I had a week or so where it looks like it was at 4,000 views a day, and then back down to 1,000 or 2,000. And then another jump where like 1,300, 1,200, what is this one? 1,100. So yeah. Anyway, so that is just kind of to give you a general sense on how I got there. So real quick, let's go back to that specific video and exactly how that video is what helped me take off, and how many views it got within the first 6 months of being monetized, plus anything before that. So again, these earnings right here are only encompassing the first 6 months of being monetized. Sorry, I feel like I'm stuffed up. I have a little bit of a cold. Hopefully I don't sound too bad. This is why I love YouTube. You can do it even when you have a cold. But you don't have to if you don't want to. I just feel like I really want to make this video right now. So Sunday, December 20th is when I published this video. And as you can see, on the first day, it got kind of average views, 148, 28, 20, 60, 10. I mean, it was not a top performing video by any means, but it was part of a huge push that I did with consistency during the month of December. The very first December that I was on YouTube, I decided to do Vlogmas, which is what a lot of YouTubers, and especially like YouTube mamas like me, were doing during that time. And It was just basically a concept of getting people consistent over the course of the holidays, because everybody loves to watch holiday content. There's so much content that can be created around the holidays, and so many more opportunities with brands and affiliate links and all of these things where you can recommend different products to people. And people are working less, they're traveling more, they're looking up videos on gift ideas and decorating ideas and cooking ideas. Really, the sky is the limit during the holidays. It's really what you can handle, but I did it. I posted every single day until Christmas, and then I also did a video, I think, on New Year's Eve. So I posted like 26 videos in 1 month. And I'm not talking shorts, I'm talking long form, like 10 to 20 minute long videos. I think one of them was like 5 minutes long, and I'll show you that one, and that one's one of the ones that went viral. But literally, of all of those videos that I posted every single day, I think that even though this one was one of them and clearly didn't go viral right off the bat, I think that consistency helped show the algorithm like, yeah, this is consistent, and just keep expanding the audiences, which is something that I think is really important to take from this. Is with YouTube, it doesn't necessarily mean that your video is a flop if it doesn't take off right away. Clearly, like I said, I only got like in the double digits of views per day for the first several months. Like, look at this, going all the way through the end of January, all the way through the end of February. Like, I was just starting to break over 200 views per day at the end of February. And all of that to show that suddenly there were a couple days where it got 400 views on February 28th, 2 months after it was published. And then all of a sudden March hit, and you can see, it got 500 views. And then from literally March 4th, 500 views, to March 5th, 829 views, to then skyrocketing to 1,111 views, to 1,900 views, to 2,200, all the way to 4,100, and then finally all the way up to 8,600 views in a day, to the highest point where this video alone got 9,330 views in one day, and it stayed up there in the 8,000, 7,000, 8,000 again, stayed up there for a few days. And that is the video that took off and went viral and got me to get monetized real quick. Like I said, it stayed consistent, and then it had another big peak, but then you can kind of see, it stayed consistent in the thousands for a little while, and then it kind of tapered off back at the like 500 per day, and it kind of stayed consistent like that for a little while, and then it went back down to like 100 per day, 200 per day. So this is just the first 6 months of being monetized. In the first 6 months of being monetized, this video alone earned me $396.66. In a future video, I will be excited to share with you what it has earned me even further down the line, including the first year of being monetized. And I'll probably make a video later on that talks about how much that video alone has earned me even to date, which now is a few years later. Let's also, just real quick while I'm here, let's talk about watch time. You can see watch time basically follows the same trend, but this is in hours. So the highest point was, it got 251 hours in one day. So over the course of time, this video alone has gotten me 13,000 hours of watch time just in those first 6 months of being monetized. So you can see, if you have a video take off very quickly, you can see how that could help you get monetized, because this is just, 6 months of it taking off, basically going from March 21st. Yeah, right here. If I just go from March 21st to the end of September, you can see that's still a huge chunk of monetization. That's the 6 months of being monetized, and you can see how it very much could have been the only video on my channel, for that matter, that would have helped me reach the requirements. But I wouldn't have gotten all the subscribers if I would have just used that one video. But you can see here that because of these big jumps, I did also, just in those first 6 months of being monetized, I did also gain 954 subscribers. But again, this also counts the subscribers that were gained from this video organically before that as well. But really, you can tell that it's the biggest jump started when I got monetized and when I took off. Going back now to when I actually was looking at the start of my channel back in June of 2020, My very first opening day, I got 123 views, which I thought was pretty cool, and I did a really good job launching my channel. And if you want to hear more about how I launched my channel and was able to get views just on my very first day with 0 following, let me know and I will be happy to make that video as well. When I got monetized, you can see at that point, my watch time is also very similar. I was suddenly gaining hundreds of hours per day. And right about here was prior to me getting monetized. So I do think that most of the watch hours were still after I got monetized. So around this point is also when I only had 1,000 subscribers, right at March 21st. Like I said, I think I hit the 1,000 subscriber mark like a week before. So, you know, probably around like the 15th or 16th is when I hit the 1,000 subscribers. And then within the course of 6 months, so just again, to really paint this picture, it took me 9 months, almost to the day, to get monetized. July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. 9 months exactly to get monetized. And so I had 1,000 subscribers at that time. And then within the course of 6 months after that, that's less than the time that my channel had existed, I tripled my subscribers. Because by the end of this point, you can see the total, by 6 months after getting monetized, I had 3,300 subscribers. And it's amazing to see how those numbers looked. But again, you can see my highest day, I gained 91 subscribers in one day. And that was April 12th. Let's go back to my views. April 12th was also, surprisingly, that was actually not my highest day. On April 12th, I actually only got 5,450 views, which is pretty wild. But you know what? On April 12th, a different video took off, and it's just wild, like I said. So once one video takes off and you have really good content on your channel and you've been consistent, people will see that and they're like, oh, if I liked this video, then I'm gonna like this video. And then the YouTube algorithm sees that they like that video and sees that, oh, they would probably like this video too. And that's how you start to get the tools in YouTube to start recommending you in multiple different ways, not just through search, which is, I think, how my video initially took off. And then secondly, after that became browse features. And browse features is basically when you're being shown on the home page. And then recommended videos is a really big one too, because then if you're being recommended on another really high, well-performing video, then you're more likely to get eyes on your videos as well. And then your videos will start recommending each other. So I had one video take off, like I said, and then it started recommending this video, and you know, next thing you know, all these videos were taking off. And again, these are just the views in the first 6 months of getting monetized. Like I said, it's crazy to see how that doubled and how I was able to have a crazy high day. Now here's another one that's interesting. I had a high day on June 20th, 2021. And if I go to subscribers, June 20th, I didn't gain a crazy number. Oops, that's July. Here we go. June 20th. Yeah, I didn't gain a crazy number. I gained 12 subscribers that day. So, you know, it really depends on the content and the person that's watching and if it's the right audience or not. Let's go now into the estimated revenue of the first 6 months of being monetized. And as you can see, my highest day, I earned $13.99 in a day. And like there were a couple other high days like that where I earned, $8.17. This one is $11.47. Over here I had another day that was here it is, $11.72. So kind of around there, a lot of $8 days. And then the lowest day in the first 6 months down here was around $2.77. I think that's the lowest. Yeah, these are all $3 days. Yeah, so the very lowest was $2.77 in a day. Yep, and then, yeah, so the highest one was that day that I showed you, $13.99. So that's pretty cool. And that day that was the highest was also just within like the first month of getting monetized. All in all, with starting out at 1,000 subscribers at this point of getting monetized, and then by the end of 6 months of being monetized, I had 3,300 subscribers and I had made $1,109.25. So that's pretty cool. And real quick, just for fun, because I'm here and I love looking at the analytics, let's look really quick at some of the other 2 videos that helped me get there. So this Pack With Me video, this, as I said, was the second video that helped me take off. And again, just also in the first 6 months of being monetized, along with the previous time before I posted it. So let's just go off of this video, which was posted 1 day before the other video that went viral. Are you seeing a trend? 2 videos, literally 2 days in a row that I posted. Both did not go viral for several months. And then at the same exact time, both took off because they were related videos. So again, this video, I posted it on December 19th, 2020. It only got 59 views in the first day, lower performing than the next video. And you know, it at one point was getting single-digit views per day, 8 views a day. Like, that's nothing to write home about. And then all of a sudden, March 17th, it got 335 views and it went back down. And then all of a sudden it had a big jump all the way up to 3,599 views in 1 day on March 30th. Now this one was kind of the second jump, or at least it was part of the second jump that I had on my channel of videos to go viral. So that's why I did get paid for this big jump, which is awesome, because I got monetized here on the first day I actually got paid was on March 22nd, Monday of 2021. So I literally got paid for this whole viral jump because on that day, it got 437 views, and that was the beginning of this huge takeoff right here, of this huge high point where it made all the way up to 3,599 views in a day, with many other 2,900, 1,000, you know, all these other days. And then it had a second jump where it went back up to 1,700, and then it kind of tapered off. It had one more tiny jump, and then it went back to being kind of a low performing video for a while. And again, this is just those first 6 months. I mean, yeah, I'll be making a video very soon to show you about how this continued over that year, to see if it continued to stay that way or if it took off again. We will see. But in the first 6 months of being monetized, this video alone earned me $103.33. And watch time for this video was 1.8 thousand hours of watch time, and subscribers, it gained me 293 subscribers. Okay, now let's go back and I'm gonna analyze one other video. This is the other video that took off in the first 6 months. Now, this video is interesting because I posted it later and it took off sooner. So this video was actually posted on Monday, May 31st, 2021. And that is after I already was monetized. And you know what's cool about this video? This video is like a 5-minute video and I only took like 10 minutes to make it. I literally only used B-roll from other videos and decided to just make a dedicated video about things that I saw people were commenting most on in my other videos that were going viral. So my top video that had gone viral in the early days was my traveling with twins on a long haul flight video, and I showed them being in a baby bassinet in the airplane. And then I had a lot of questions in the comments about the baby bassinets specifically. That was being mentioned over and over and over and over. People were asking to see a little bit more details on how it works or how to book them. So I literally just made a airplane baby bassinets video, and I don't even think the image on the thumbnail is that great. I mean, I don't know. I think looking back, I know now what I would do differently, but it performed really well because it was clear. People saw what they were getting. There was images of multiple, 4 different types of baby bassinets, because at this time we had been flying a lot with our twins and they were still babies and we had used a lot of bassinets. So I wanted to just basically share my tips on how to book them and how they work. Real simple, super just easy to make. I just did a voiceover, just basically talking through the steps that we took to book these bassinets and what they looked like, with some B-roll of our travels with them. And it instantly took off because it was very closely related to my other videos that had taken off. I started out at 700 views in the first day, went up to 1,000, then kind of tapered off at 400, then went quickly back up to 1,200, and then boom, 6,411 views in a day. And it kind of for about a week was in that high phase. So from June 17th to June 25th, somewhere around there, it was getting multiple thousand views per day, which is awesome. And then it kind of tapered off at 1,000 for a couple weeks. And then all of a sudden it had another jump where it went up to 2,800, 2,600, 2,500, 2,300. It had like all these little jumps for like another 2 weeks or so. And so this, again, before it finally did taper off and went back to not being as big of a video, again, it may have revived itself. I'll be sure to share this with you soon in my next video where I talk about how much my videos have earned me within the first year of being monetized. But yeah, with this said, that video alone, just in the first 6 months of being monetized, and actually this isn't even a full 6 months because like I said, I posted it on May 31st, which was actually 2 months after I got monetized. So, and actually this is the end of May. So basically I only got paid for this video all of June, July, August, and part of September. So this is not even a full 4 months. In just that time frame, it gained me 93,000 views, 1.6 thousand hours of watch time, 108 subscribers, and that video also made me $75.01 just in that short amount of time. Like I said, guys, this video literally was like one of the easiest videos I've made. It probably took the same amount of time to make as most people that make a short or make a reel on Instagram or something, you know, because it was so short. It was only 5 minutes, 5 minutes and 50 seconds. And it was just basically a voiceover with B-roll that I already had on my iPhone. It's amazing what you can do, you guys. Like, that's huge for my channel because again, it actually showed over here that YouTube search was 86% of the views during this time. And this goes back to my last video about how I made over $5,000 on YouTube, where I talked about specifically what I did to rank in search. I used highly searchable keywords, but I made sure that they are keywords and phrases that did not have too much competition on YouTube. So I used a tool called TubeBuddy that helped me be able to actually see how many different people are utilizing these keyword phrases along with how many people are searching for these keyword phrases so that you can get an idea of if it's a good keyword phrase to use to make sure that you're not in an area where there's too much competition, because if there's too much competition, then you won't get found. Pretty cool stuff. Like I said, I love looking at analytics. I think it's just so fun to see it take off and to see how it's performing. The other thing that probably you want to be aware of is the reach. I'll go back to my top video really quick just to give you a sense of this. My goodness, I could do a whole video about how to understand your analytics, like for real. Again, going back to just the first 6 months of being monetized, really quick, I want to show you something that's really important, reach. So as you can see, this video was actually shown to 2.9 million people since published all the way through the first 6 months of being monetized, but also the impression click-through rate. You can see at the very beginning, actually, the very first couple days, it had a really high rate, which is, even though it didn't take off for a long time, this is very telling because it shows that the YouTube algorithm was testing out different audiences. It got a really high rate just a few days in, and then it probably expanded the audience, and then it didn't get a good rate, so it went back down to a low, well, relatively low. 5.7 is actually still a really good click-through rate. But then minimized the audience again, and that's when the rate went up because it realized, oh, this audience likes it. Okay, so then when it minimizes it, then it starts to expand the audience more, and because it got a really good click-through rate. And then when people aren't clicking, it goes down. So then it is showing it to less people because it's like, oh, well, okay, I showed it to a lot of people, but there was less chance of people to click on it because the more people it shows it to, the less chance there is to click on it. I feel like I need to have like these two side by side really. But at the end of the day, the impressions and the click-through rate are directly related because the more people that a video is shown to that it reaches that have a chance to click on it, then technically the less chance there is that someone will click on it just because of numbers. I mean, if you're showing something to 1 million people, you're never gonna make every single person click. So it's going to be a lower click-through rate than if you're showing it to only 10 people. then you know that those people are probably very specific people that might be interested. So the algorithm was just literally testing it over and over. And you can see multiple times it got another high click-through rate, 19.6. It got another high day of 14, another high day of 13.2. So you can see it was continually testing out, trying to get a good audience. And then finally it did. And literally this is when it took off. So where is the lowest click-through rate? Okay, so you can see on March 4th, that was the lowest click-through rate within the first like few months of it being posted. That was finally where it started to go down, which was 4.6. And obviously it went low down to like 1.5. And even though I know that that looks like a bad thing, it's because the audience was growing tremendously, because it had found so many people in the target audience that it thought would like it, were clicking, that it thought it was finally safe to now show it to a much larger audience. So as you can see, pay close attention to this area right here. This, if I click on the impressions, even though this was a lower click-through rate, boom, right there, you can see this is when it was being shown to millions of people. Like, that is crazy. Every single day it was growing, and up here, the highest day it was being shown to 77,866 people. Up here, 76,827 people. These are the people that had the chance to click on it that day. I mean, that's so cool. And of course the views correspond as well, because obviously if more people have a chance to click on it, then there will be more views. But the chances of them clicking on it are smaller because it's an expanded audience. They may not have as much specific interest as the initial core groups of people. But I'm just showing you this because it is important to understand that if you post a video that doesn't take off immediately, but you think it has a lot of potential to do well, look at the click-through rate. Because if it's doing this, if it's getting high days like this, where it's like 27% click-through rate, 16, 19% click-through rate, like that is so good, you guys. Like on average, most videos probably are like 2 to 5%, and anything really over 4% is good. So these numbers, that 27.4% click-through rate is insane. That means you've got a good thumbnail that people want to see, good title, relatable content, inconsistent, and the algorithm can see that you're continuing to push more content out with similar keywords, so it knows who you're trying to target. So good. I love talking about this. Okay, any other questions that you have about analytics, let me know in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them. I always try to answer all of my comments, and if you have questions where you want me to make a specific video about any of these things, let me know. And like I said, stay tuned, because very soon I'll be making a video about how much I've earned and exactly how many views and what my channel did during the first year of being monetized. Did it double? We'll see. Also, if you divide the total number that I earned over the course of 6 months, $1,109.25, divided that by 6 months, that comes out to $184.87.5 per month. And if you divide this 184.875 by 30 days, then my average per day was $6.16 per day for 6 months straight. That is so cool. It just goes to show that this can snowball very quickly if you stay consistent. And it's so exciting to see what this looks like down the road. And if you want to know right now about more strategies that I used to get here, I definitely recommend watching my video on how I earned my first $5,000 on YouTube. In this video, I go into a whole lot more detail on exactly what strategies I used for my keyword strategy, my searchable evergreen content strategy, how consistent I was, because I didn't necessarily always stay consistent, and how that turned out. I'll be sure to link that video in the description, and also I'll show it on the screen at the end of this video so you can watch it next. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you subscribe if you gained any value. Like this video, share it with a friend who wants to learn more about YouTube analytics and how much you can make on YouTube, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, and have a great day.